Hey, what is up, my good people? Hello and happy Wednesday to you. Hopefully, your sorry ass wasn't traded today to another team for a mid-round pick in 2047. This is the Around the 412 Fantasy Football Show. I'm your host, Joe Frick. With me, as always, the marvelous, the amazing, the doctor in the house, Drew Hannes. Drew, how are we doing, man? Regular season football is almost here, my friend.
Yeah, man, I'm super psyched. My boss sent me a Teams message this morning, said he had his fantasy draft tonight, and he did no prep, so he's just like, you need to tell me everything that you know right now, and I sent him like 15 bullet points, so hopefully his drafts go well. 14-teamer. Shout out to my boss.
We'll see how it looks.
Yeah, 14 's a lot.
14, that's some big boy stuff. I helped my little brother with a draft last week, and that one was 16 teams, and that was like slim pickings as you got deep in there. And
they choose their draft order based on March Madness picks.
I like that.
He did horrible, so he had to pick 14th too. So
yeah, what would you say is, like, in your opinion, the best way to decide draft order for a league?
I love watching the videos where people do like the combine stuff. That I would love to do that, but my friends and I aren't that cool. Like, we all live way too far apart to like do that shit. Too, so.
Yeah, I've been thinking about putting together a list. I've been commissioning a league from the place I first worked at. I got out of college. I've been the commissioner for like 8 or 9 years. So we've done a lot of things over the year. I created everybody in the WWE video game and did like a Royal Rumble 1 year. 1 year we did like week 0 for college football. Everybody got to pick a team, and then whoever's team scored the highest points, then you got to pick your draft slot. 1 year was an Olympic year, so there was speed walking was like one of the Summer Olympic events. So I basically just said, hey, it's based off of the speed walking results, first come, first serve. So then like people immediately like trying to do research on like top speed walkers and stuff. And I think for whatever reason that year, the best like woman speed walker of the time, I think it was in 2016, like wasn't competing in the Olympics. So like somebody picked her, and then it was all this drama because like she didn't race, she like pulled out and all this stuff. So
you have a baby now. The baby is the move. Noah's picked the last 2 draft orders, man.
Wow. No, yeah. Jonah has been referred to at his daycare as the lobster because he's just been grabbing everybody. So I guess
grab a piece of the paper out of a hat.
We could. He might try to eat him though. But you know what? It's time, Drew. Put on the lab coat. Let the people know what the injuries are. I know you said before the show, you said it was a short list, but it's still an important one. We're in the crunch time here, so let the people know what's up.
Yeah, there's a lot of injuries out there, but I just try to stick to the ones that I feel like people care about the most in terms of their fantasy lineups, obviously. So, and then a couple, if one's like really big and it's worth talking about, but
yeah,
I'll start with that one. Jalen McMillan, already been placed on IR with the sprained neck. Before they started to come out with what his timeline was going to be, I kind of went through my data over the last few years, and obviously his best match was Zach Moss last year. It wasn't necessarily the same type of play that caused the injury, but they both had significant sprained necks. His target going into this, I was going to say like 9 weeks, given the fact that that's what Zach Moss missed. But then you have to take into account that he ended up missing the rest of the season, and there could have been more games that he would have missed after that. So I kind of went with like a 9 to 12 week benchmark for Jalen McMillan, which sounds like that's what's going to be. I'm expecting him to come back probably around their week 10 bye. I would assume that they would probably let him, sit through the bye, and we're probably looking at a week 11 situation for him. So he's not going to be on anybody's radar in terms of a late round.
Yeah, and I think too, it's an interesting predicament, right? Because everybody kind of predicted, even as soon as draft night, all right, Ibuka is going to be the third guy in, but then you have Chris Godwin still hasn't been practicing yet, so it's like, all right, 3 wide receiver sets. He had a good season, like for a rookie last year, like he popped like quite a bit. Big in the fantasy football championships, or if you're like a best ball player, that week 17 he was money. I think he put up 2 touchdowns that week. So there was a little bit of like, hey, like maybe not this year, but like he can kind of just like hover around and be a periodic player. But if we're looking at it, the doors have opened for Ibuka to immediately come in and be an immediate contributor. His ADP is going to skyrocket. How early is too early for Emeka Egbuka?
I feel like I should pull up his ADP or these ADPs right now because I feel like this is going to come up a lot in the show. I'm
in a draft right now, and he went, I believe, in the 7th round.
That's pretty solid. I mean,
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I was hoping he would have made it to New England in the 7th.
I would take him over a guy that we're going to talk about later on.
Okay.
I think that's where my range probably starts with that guy's going around like the 6th, 7th turn. So
yeah. Yeah, I do think that like 7th round is good. I think Mike Woods, enjoy your retirement, buddy. But Mike Evans, I mean, he criminally underrated. Wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 price. I mean, the competition for him's going nowhere too. And if you think about like what Aguka does, I mean, obviously had the nice little kind of like out route touchdown with the Steelers, great concentration there, but he's not the go up and get it type. He's your technician slot route runner. Mike Evans, I mean, shaping up to be in a good spot, so we'll see how that lands. Who else you got on the injury list for us?
I'll knock out Lamar Jackson really quick because he left practice early and had everybody with a scare mode, but he just got stepped on. It looks like he'll be okay. He'll be back at practice tomorrow. And then my final one was Devon Achane, suffered that calf strain. He's looking at about a 1 to 3 week recovery. I think that he's probably going to be ready for week 1. I think that the data suggests that he can miss that much time, but it sounds like they're pretty optimistic that he should be ready for week 1 without any limitations. But something to keep in the back of your mind if you start to see him slide or some other reports come out that this strain might be worse than what is anticipated, or like any soft tissue injury, there's a greater chance of having re-aggravation. So it's just something to monitor, but I feel like he'll be good to go for week 1.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, let's jump in. It's been a busy day in the NFL. So we got a lot of different things that have been happening right now. So from a headlines perspective, the big one that's on everybody's radar right now, everyone's been talking about it. We got Brian Robinson Jr. He's been held out of practice. He's been held out of preseason games. There's a pending trade or cut that seems imminent. Looking at his contract, even though he was kind of like drafted later, he's owed $3 million this season and is on the last season of his rookie deal. So if you compare his contract to others, it was really backloaded pretty heavily, which is, to me, seems uncommon relative to like other rookies that were going in that range. So I don't know what the agent was doing, but kind of like screwed the pooch here a little bit. But some landing spots that I was thinking about, Drew, I don't know if any of these sound appealing to you. The least likely of the 4 that I thought of was like, do you want to throw another kind of like Hall of Mid into Dallas? Houston, we have been kind of hearing some rumors this week about like how bad Joe Mixon's foot might be. I've heard things ranging from, hey, like he's a great buy low, he's going to miss some time, to, hey, he's not going to play at all this season, he has multiple fractures in his foot. I think there's a lot of speculation on that, and we don't know where the chips are going to fall. But Houston, I mean, they don't really have a lot there outside of Nick Chubb, Dameon Pierce, and then Woody Marks. You got Chicago, who they have DeAndre Swift, Roschon Johnson. Not really something I would think that would happen, but you could see some smoke there. And then last but not least, any time that there's any offensive player that you might be able to get on the cheap, it seems like Kansas City's involved. They have kind of like the corpse of Kareem Hunt. They have a couple other players that could be a little bit useful, but if Isaiah Pacheco can't return to his 2023 form, then that could be something that's there. So do you think that they're able to find a suitor for him? Like, what do you think is going to be the outcome of this?
I don't think that he's going to be on the Commanders come next week. I think that it's pretty set in stone. I was reading some people saying that they don't think it's going to happen. He'll be traded, but like they're letting the dude sit out of practice. Like he's not even at the facility.
Yeah.
There's no reason to think that he's going to be on the team next week.
What's weird to me about this whole situation is that usually when you find your rookie quarterback that's on the rookie pay scale, you're not shipping out assets, right?
Yeah, but
like
it's trying to accumulate right now.
It is the Terry McLaurin thing. So it's like, are they trying to use that money to pay Terry? That's what
I think they're trying to cut. If they have areas where they think that they have cheaper guys available, I think that they're going to take that opportunity to do so. And we were talking about this earlier, but it seems like there's a trend around the league where these teams are starting to look at letting running backs go earlier on their rookie year or rookie contract rather than just holding them into that last year. Like it seems like the same thing's happening in Breece Hall with the Jets. And then like there's some buzz now that we talked about this earlier, Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker might become the odd man out. It seems like there's a trend here, and we're seeing it in Jacksonville too. I mean, Travis Etienne is like on the way out and he's on the last year of his deal. It's just like these teams are like they're trying to get a year ahead. That way, if these guys aren't the future, they know it, and they still for the Jaguars and like the Seahawks and the Jets, they still have those guys under contract. So if it doesn't work out, they can kind of pivot back to them, but they're trying to get a year ahead when they know that they're not going to have these guys.
Right. Yeah. No, that's an interesting point. I know we talked about it before the show. I didn't necessarily agree with the take, mostly because I'm of the belief that, hey, if you're going to let this guy walk, like, why not run him into the ground?
That's how I've always thought.
That's pretty much the premise of, like, say, like the Le'Veon Bell holdout situation. Like, you're not going to run me into the ground. I'm not playing. But I think to your point, and maybe I just didn't get it in the text, it's like you're saying, hey, like, this is more of a tryout for the new guy more so than anything else, where I wasn't really thinking about that. So it's a really interesting observation that you're making there.
It's also because it seems like some of these running back contracts are getting a little bit higher than what these teams like James Cook's contract. I don't think that most teams would have paid James Cook what James Cook got, but because he's so vital to the success of the Buffalo.
Yeah, Saquon definitely reset the running back market. I mean, if you look at like contracts prior to that one, if you were breaking 10 mil, people were feeling good about it. I think as we're transitioning into this kind of too high safety looks, you're having lighter boxes, running backs are becoming more vital again. You're not seeing the 200 targets for 1,800 yards that you saw like in the late 2010s, you know? But the big story, not even around Brian Robinson, who I will say, I think regardless of where he does end up, like still has some standalone value. So I'm excited to get him.
It depends where he goes. If he goes to a committee, and then it's just going to be tough. Like, I think I told you this from day one. I thought that the Texans made just so much sense. Because he's kind of a similar player to Joe Mixon in a way. I think he doesn't do as much in the passing game as what Mixon is capable of, but I think that he's a very similar, powerful back. I think that he makes a ton of sense, especially because Nick Chubb is also injury prone, not in a negative way, just he's had some very bad luck.
It's also very weird how DeMeco Ryans is talking about Nick Chubb. He's just like, yeah, man, like he's real old. Like he's like so old and decrepit.
He's coming off a really rough injury. Like, he's saying all the
names. Rough injury, but like that guy got heart, and it's like that is like not like what I would want to hear.
Let me throw a team out for you, and you'll hate it. But there's a lot of buzz all of a sudden that Alvin Kamara might get moved. I think Brian Robinson on the Saints makes a ton of sense.
I mean, they've been saying Kamara is going to move for a while, though. Like, that's the hard part. It's like if you look at, like, Kamara, Breece Hall, like, a lot of these names have been floated for a long time.
Yeah,
I just don't know.
They didn't get the right piece, but now it's
right. But it's like if you think about like this draft class with how many quality running backs came out, it's like where does like someone like Kamara go? Like where's the fit?
He's just going to go to a team that's going to be win now, and they can use a guy that, I mean, he's not just a running back. He offers a lot as a pass catcher.
Oh, for sure. I think that like a move like that or for like a Breece Hall needs to come from an injury. Like Brian Robinson feels like a money move, and they're like, we know that we're not re-signing you, so let's try to get something for it. Whereas like Kamara, it's like, let's say that, I don't know, CMC goes down again, and San Francisco's like, we're contending, and then they go out and backfill with Kamara. Like that's the kind of move that I see happening.
The Saints are rough though, so like they need to save money in areas. That's the reason why I think that there's some real, buzz there. I mean,
yeah,
I don't expect it anytime soon. I think it would be more of a deadline thing to your point. I just think that it's happening too quick.
Yeah.
For the Commanders, it's happening quick because they just love this dude. Like Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is just like he's blowing up for them. Which it's so funny that we're going to bring this up now because I watched that game on Monday night and I didn't see it. I didn't really see it.
I think people saw what they wanted to see from him. So he had that touchdown run.
But like I could have scored on that.
Right.
I could have scored on that play.
Yeah, he took a good.
The hole was huge, and there was no one there.
Yeah, and then so other than that 27-yard run, 46 yards on 11 carries, Eckler didn't play. I think Eckler is the guy for them. I think they're banking on Eckler being like old Eckler this year, and then they're like, all right, when we can take breathers with people like Chris Rodriguez, Bill Krosky, Merritt, whoever else.
I think it's going to be a committee.
I think it is going to be a committee, but I think Eckler is the headliner. I think if it's me, you think about like emotional decisions in fantasy football, like Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt is an immediate sell for me right now in Dynasty.
Yeah, for sure.
People are getting like second round picks. They're throwing him in as like a package to get like crazy players. Like to me, it's like his value will never be higher.
But this is the way you need to handle Bill Krosky Merritt is like you put him on the block. All right.
I haven't heard nothing because I put him on the block. I haven't heard a word.
Yeah. So for me, I picked him up in the one league where he was available. And that's just because like that league is like in year 5 or something. And everyone's rosters are full. Like it's so difficult.
Because it's a 10-man league. Like
it's hard to find someone to drop. So like he sat there and I'm just sitting there. I'm just like, I wanted to add him and Chris Rodriguez because like I have an RB2 problem in that league. But like the move is you need to wait till he has that big game. Like early on, he's going to have a game where he scores 2 touchdowns, puts up like 75 to 100 all-purpose yards. He's going to be like RB5 for that week. And that's the week where you go to make a move, but you don't put him on the block. You look for a player that you want to acquire, have the conversation, and you throw Krosky Merritt into that discussion. And that's how you're going to move him. Because like I don't think it works with the block right now because everyone knows that it's a game with him right now.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But moving on, I do think that, I think everything's said to be said there. People are just so thirsty for football right now that it's just like they need this. Like we shouldn't be.
No one can talk about anything else but him.
No, and there's nothing. It's a 7th round guy. Like he's fine, but like he didn't even really do anything in his senior year. He was hurt. Like
no. He wasn't hurt. He was ruled ineligible after the first game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So like I can see why, like he might have been picked much earlier, but he only had one good season in 2023. Like it's hard to say. Like there's a lot of people talking about how like his run style, one cut guy, like he looks good. It's just that like I haven't seen it in the preseason to really fall for it yet because his main big run was a huge, massive hole. And I need to see more.
Yeah, well, not Najee was hitting that hole. Like, there's like no like concerns about that one.
It was funny. Someone said like everyone in the league was scoring that play. I was like, maybe not Najee. He might have like ran into like the right tackle, decided to bounce it and just get run out of bounds after like a 3-yard game. But like everyone was scoring on that run except for maybe Najee.
So outside of the Brian Robinson news, there were 2 trades that went down on the offensive side of the ball today. We had Devon Vele get traded to the Saints for a 2026 4th and a 2027 7th. I don't really care to talk about him and his role on the Saints because the Saints have 2 potatoes at quarterback, so could be a good dynasty piece. But I'm more interested, Drew, who do you think that this benefits the most on the Broncos? So you got Troy Franklin, who's apparently had a nice camp. Pat Bryant, they've had a lot of good things to say. He got the Michael Thomas comp from his coach, Sean Payton. Then you got Marvin Mims, who has kind of been like he's going to be starting for them this year. Like, who do you like the most out of those 3 as like a secondary option for the Broncos? Or maybe Evan Ingram as the Joker, if you will.
I think Ingram's role is well-defined, and he's going to be okay even if Vele stayed. I'm always the type that's going to take that guy that's coming into his second season. I think it's pretty clear, obvious as Troy Franklin for me. I mean, he's having a huge camp. The same things that people are saying about Troy Franklin now is what I thought about Devon Vele leading up to the Fishbowl draft. Like I picked him late in Fishbowl because I was like, Vele's doing the same things. I personally think it wasn't they wanted to move him. It's
they got a great deal for it.
It was insane. Like
you got a 7th round guy. He's 27. And then you get a 4th round pick for it. Like,
and it's basically a third because the Saints are picking in the top 5. Like it was a smash trade. They had to make that move. So like, I feel like Vele is still someone to watch. I think that the Saints are trying to move some capital because they need to cut some of their salary. And I think that Vele could end up being the 2. There's a lot of buzz about Rashee Shaheed potentially being a guy being on the move now. So I think that they paid up because they do actually really like him and he could potentially be a piece for them. He
was decent last year.
He was solid, honestly, and he was having a big offseason. with the Saints, I know that they're going to be bad, but like they're going to be a negative game script so often that like these guys could potentially be usable if the quarterback play could be even.
Yeah, I just don't think that this bumps him into like draftable territory.
Oh yeah, he's not draftable yet. He's like a guy you're just keeping on your watch list. Yeah.
Speaking of people that we won't draft, but we'll just throw a little moment for them in this section. Sky Moore traded to San Francisco.
I forgot that you existed.
Yeah, former first round dynasty darling.
I forgot that he existed. Honestly,
yeah, I didn't even know he was still in the league. I thought they just cut him, but
yeah,
we'll see.
Shout out to him for getting life, I guess.
All right, so let's transition to fantasy football Tinder. So if
you want to talk about Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson quick,
we can.
It's real short. I mean, Daniel Jones, he's ass, but like he can at least throw the ball a little more, right? So like it does help all of the receivers, but mainly it's a Jonathan Taylor thing. Like he's not going to have to fight for red zone equity with Anthony Richardson anymore. So I think Taylor got a bump for me. He might be a guy that I'd be looking at in like the end of the first round, the 1-2 turn. Like he was going late 2, early 3, but like I gave him a significant boost. I like Taylor a lot more in this situation.
Yeah, and I mean it's a shame. I think Anthony Richardson, classic case. He has the Josh Allen syndrome, right, where he had all the tools, not a lot of experience. I think Buffalo did a lot better with kind of crafting and sticking with it for him. But at the end of the day, I mean, these coaches, these GMs, they want to keep their jobs. It's interesting, like they did not do well when Anthony Richardson wasn't playing last year. So I don't think that you can attribute all of those failures to him. But there's obviously something that they're seeing. I think that he will get another chance on another team, or maybe we'll see him.
I think he's going to play again this year. I'm holding him in Fishbowl because
for Fishbowl for sure, but he's a drop for me in pretty much any other.
You just got to keep your eyes on him and try to be a week ahead when Jones is really starting to fall off.
Yeah,
get yourself ready in position for when he has a chance to start.
And you know what? It might be better off for him because if he started the year cold, then it's like that would derail his career. If the Colts are imploding and he comes in, then it is what it is. I do think that they could have made that decision a little bit sooner, though, or just been like, hey, he should have taken the time, or like, we're going to give him the reps and go through with it. Like, this doesn't move the needle for me for the Colts. Like, this doesn't make them better. Even if you get peak Daniel Jones, what is that going to get you? A wild card win at best?
It's going to get them not even in the playoffs.
Right. Like,
it's not the NFC. Like, the AFC's loaded. They're not going to the playoffs with either of them. No way.
Yeah. So
sorry, Colts fans.
But it is what it is. It's tough.
Just be real with yourselves. That way it's not a stressful season.
All right, Drew. So we're going to transition into fantasy football Tinder. For those of us that have not seen this before, let me just give you a brief introduction on how this runs. So fantasy football Tinder, just like your favorite dating app, we swipe left, we swipe right on trending players in the league. So just to give you an example of what this looks like, we're going to look at our friend Zach here. Zach is a fashion mogul, as we know, and the people want to know, will Zach be collaborating with the NFL and Crocs collection that dropped this week? All of the savants in the fashion industry know that, yes, he is basically like the Pittsburgh Drewski. So he's got to be in there. He's going to get the first pair. They'll probably be autographed.
For real.
Yeah, it'd be dope. And, I'm a former Crocs hater. I've seen the light. I got 2 pair now. They're great.
I don't have any yet, but I need to get Crocs for my kayaks because you got to have something on your feet when you get in and out of the water. And I just never
I got the winter Crocs for when I got to take out the garbage, and they got like the fuzzy on the inside. And now I got my summer Crocs. It's legit. And then for people that are like anti-Crocs, anti-Zach, whatever, they're going to swipe left. You'll see the red X's there. So that's pretty much what we're looking at here. We've also been polling on Twitter. So if you want to get on the action, feel free to send us a comment, put something in. But yeah, we got a lot of responses this week. So excited to talk about it. Our first one here, Drew. So Rashee Rice, his hearing's pushed out to September 30th. The league obviously could settle before that. This is really an unprecedented case where there's discussion as to how much discipline is warranted because they haven't really experienced anything like this. Players in the NFL do a lot of effed up stuff, but this isn't great. My boy Chris from Fantasy Sports Advice Network saying shout out to the Winter Crocs. He knows the vibe. He's a man.
I didn't even know that those existed.
The fuzzy Crocs are legit. I have all these shoes behind me. My dad says that a man needs 4 pairs of shoes. He needs his work boots, his winter Crocs, his summer Crocs, and his tennis shoes. So shout out to Papa Frick for holding it down. But so Rashee Rice, the initial number that's been floated out around there, they were saying 10. Schefter came back and said it was actually 8. Many are thinking it's going to fall into this 6-game span here. And there's also concern that this suspension may not start at the beginning of the year, but could occur after this hearing on the 30th. So he's at an ADP of 68, wide receiver 24. 68% of the voters on Twitter said yes, they would still draft him at that point in the ADP. My question to you, Drew, are you willing to roll the dice on Rashee Rice?
This is the Tinder week where I'm like, I got a target on me, a bullseye, but I'm swiping left. It's funny because if you would have been watching our show the last 3 weeks or 2, it's been 2 weeks we've been back. I've been all about Rashee Rice. I've been drafting him everywhere. I had a dynasty startup. I drafted him early in that. But this news kind of threw me for a loop, I'll be honest with people. I honestly thought that he was going to be in the 3 to 4 or 5 range because that's what previous like precedented cases were like. But then I didn't really take into account that like, okay, this dude fled the scene. You know what I mean? Then like he came back the next day and I was like, okay, yeah, I screwed up. So like I didn't really take into account that, okay, yeah, that's very different than what these other cases are like. And when the 10 games came out, I was like, frick, like that's way worse than I thought. 8 games, still not what I was thinking. So, okay, even if they settle at 6, the way I'm looking at it, you're going to get him the first 4 weeks. I was hoping that the suspension would be in the first 4 weeks ahead of bye week season. I wanted it to be out of the way. I had my full roster, didn't have to worry about it. Hopefully you don't have the injury bug during that time either. But if it's starting in week 5, it could even start in week 6 if it takes some time to deliberate and decide on what they actually want to do. The earliest he's going to come back is probably week 12. And that's a couple weeks before playoffs for fantasy football. And the dude's going to require ramp up. Like, you're not going to be able to miss all of that time and just get back to football activities like nothing happened. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. And they're also dealing with guys like Travis Kelce and Xavier Worthy are going to demand targets in this offense. He's going to be away from the team for so long. You got to think that Pat Mahomes is going to get into a rhythm with one of those guys, and Rashee Rice isn't just going to show up and be like, okay, I'm that guy again. I just don't see that happening. And then the worst part about all of this is that I don't like his schedule when he gets back. Like, they come back, he got the Cowboys. If Diggs is back and he's shadowing and he's better, he's coming off an ACL from 2 years ago. Hopefully he's better again this year. He could be shadowing and be a tough matchup. And then the Chargers, they have the Chargers in week 15. Week 14, they have the Texans. Horrible matchup. Arguably one of the best secondaries in football. They're going to have the Titans in week 16 in the playoffs, which he can get the L'Jarius Sneed shadow, potentially, depending on what the team looks like. If Worthy pops off, you might see him there. He might not even shadow at this point. He's coming off an injury as well. But Broncos in the championship then. Like, it's just – I don't feel good about a guy missing that much time, and then you have to worry about whether or not he's even playable because he's not in football shape, and then he has bad matchups on top of it. It's just not a vibe for me that I want to go with. I'd rather draft a guy like George Pickens in that range, who I love. I'd rather honestly take Travis Kelce, who's going in that range, because I could wait on tight end, get better wide receivers in the front half of the draft. And I think that Travis Kelce is going to be the main beneficiary with Rice not playing. We saw that last year when Rice went down. That's when Kelce started to pick up. And then Travion Henderson is a guy that's like really starting to pop off. And he's now in that range of ADP where Rashee Rice is going at the end of the 6th round. And I'd rather have Travion Henderson. So It's like, I love Rashee Rice, the player, but I'll own it. I completely misread this entire situation heading into this point. I thought that it was going to play out way differently, and I don't feel comfortable taking him over other guys that I know I'm going to have the entire season, and especially George. Like, that's going to be an offense that's throwing the ball a ton, and I think that George is going to get a ton of targets. Obviously, CD's still the guy, but they throw so much that I'd rather take a guy like that and then not have to just bank on Rashee Rice, especially if you go 2-2 in those 4 games where he's there. You can't trade him. You're just going to be stuck. So it's just like you just have to hold, and you can't hold him in an IR spot. Standard leagues on ESPN, you have to keep him on your bench, or you're just locking up a bench spot. So
you have to change the settings in order to allow suspend people. I know some people do it, but it feels
most people don't, right? So
right.
like I'm just not going to play around with those games. I'm just going to go with someone that I feel more confident with and not have to deal with it. But it sucks because like I am high on Rice the player. Just this year isn't it for me. Now that this whole thing is floating out to be worse than what I expected.
Yeah, so I hear you. Valid points. I like all of the guys that you mentioned. I know we talked about it offline where I feel like Travis Kelce's lost the weight. He had the podcast with T Swizzle.
It's so wild that he lost the weight
lining up for
in sourdough bread.
Yeah.
All off season.
Who knows? But he feels like he's becoming a value in the 7th, 8th round. That being said, if you tell me that I can get Rice for the first 4 weeks and I lose him for some time, I'm going to get him back. What should probably be a 2nd round guy if there was no suspension. Yeah, sign me up for it at this ADP. I would love it to slide a little bit more, but I am going to swipe right on this. So before his injury, he was leading the league in reception and yards. The only person he trailed in fantasy points was Malik Neighbors. Granted, this was in week 4, so there was a lot of football to be had, of course, but it seemed like all things were running through him. The way that they utilized him, I'm not worried who's shadowing him. I know that Andy Reid can find ways to get him the ball. But I think the thing that I like the most about this situation is that if he's going in that 6th round, 7th round, and like the 7th round is a smash for me, 6, I'll pull the trigger. But here's why I'm okay with it. Here are players that I can get substantially later in the draft that I still feel comfortable rolling out into a flex spot. So I can snag someone like Stephon Diggs, who's going at pick 97. I can get Chris Olave, who was your guy that you said you were reaching for last week, pick 101. Jordan Addison. So I think Jordan Addison is an interesting like complement to somebody if you're going to go after Rashee Rice.
Rashee Rice should be going where Addison's going, and then I'd be
right. But my point is that if you think that Rice is going to play for the first 4 games, but then Jordan Addison's suspended for the first 3, you basically just trade off on the 2 and then hope that Addison has the games there. Additionally, we know that it isn't going to last. Emeka Egbuka is getting drafted at 123. So if you have a draft that's happening now and you can jump up a round or 2 early in the 10th and get him, then it's like I feel like there's enough depth in the wide receiver position that I can keep afloat. It's just I need to think differently about where I'm attacking otherwise in the draft. Like I think if I'm going to take Rice here, am I going to go after McCaffrey? And then it's like, all right, like I want to take more safe options elsewhere in the draft to absorb the risk that I'm taking with this unknown.
So the only argument I have, and I like it's okay because like I love Rice the player too, so I'm arguing against like his suspension, not the player, but like 4 weeks could potentially be a small sample size. We don't know like if that was going to be sustained all year. And then why not just take the guy in Rice's spot and then have all that extra capital at the end, plus a George Pickens, plus a Travion Henderson? Because
and I think too, if someone reaches for him, I will be very aggressively trying to trade for Rashee Rice like week 2 or 3.
That's the thing. I would rather not take him and then try to acquire him during the suspension, which is going to be my next argument for my next guy. Like,
yeah. All right. Yeah. No, I hear you. I see both sides to it for sure. I think it's just a matter of how do you want to attack it. I also have like this kind of thing where it's like I think that could he get a lesser sentence because he plays on the Chiefs?
If we come back a week from now and he's suspended 4 games and it's the first 4, I'm drafting him again. Like it just completely changes scenario. But like 6 games starting in week 5 or 6 is not okay with me. If he starts it before bye weeks and like he can get back into shape and then he has all season, all playoffs, that's a different story. But I don't want him to come up against Patrick Surtain when he's missed 10 games and it's his 3rd week back. Like that doesn't work for me. Like,
no, I hear you. That's valid. So speaking of murky legal situations, we're going to transition now to our second Tinder of the night. And that is none other than Cleveland Browns potential running back because he still hasn't signed yet. Taking ourselves off the stage. You know, we're learning, we're doing things. Life happens. But So Quinshon Judkins, he still hasn't signed. They're waiting for the NFL investigation potentially before they finish anything else up. All of the charges have been dropped from a legal perspective. You got Jerome Ford, Dylan Sampson waiting in the wings, currently at an ADP of 115 and a half, running back 33. Drew, my question to you, are you willing to take a chance on the talent? And America voted 75% of Americans that are friends with me on Twitter that voted in this poll said yes. So how are you feeling about our boy here, Quinshon Judkins?
Again, I'm swiping left. And this one's harder for me because, like, Judkins, as many know, was my guy in this rookie class. Like, I was a huge Judkins guy. Hated the fact he went to the Browns, but, like, loved the player. For me, I don't know how I can draft the dude because I have no idea what the hell's going on. Like, it's getting to the point now where he's not signed in the way Schefter's talking. He's not going to sign until after the NFL does their investigation. The NFL pushed Rashee Rice's back to September 30th, basically because they don't have time to deal with his situation. Why the hell are they going to start working on Quinshon Judkins ahead of his when Rashee Rice pled guilty? There's no, like, investigation to do anymore. Like, they know what his situation is, and they're still pushing his off. So if he doesn't even have – it goes out the window if they meet with the girl that allegedly the issue happened with and she decides not to cooperate. But, like, we don't know – what's going to happen. And we don't even know how quickly they're going to be in contact, what they're going to do. Like, if he doesn't sign quickly, he hasn't practiced since June.
Right.
Who knows how often he's working out? I mean, he's probably trying to do some things because he's trying to get ready for the season, but, like, I'm sure he has a lot of things going on in his personal life where football's not a priority right now. So, like, he hasn't practiced since June, not under contract. There's no point in the NFL rushing this. There's no point in the Browns rushing this. When he does finally sign, let's say he signs the week of the season. He has not practiced in almost 3 months at that point. He's a rookie. There's a learning curve for all rookies heading into the NFL. I don't see this dude having meaningful volume for several months. And for me, I'm going to have him on my watch list the same I'm going to be treating Anthony Richardson. I want him, but I think there's no way in hell that the team that drafts him is holding on to him the whole way. I think that he'll be available in free agency, and I'll just, try to acquire him then when I feel like there's going to get to the point where he might actually help a squad. Because, like, I just don't think that he's going to be helping teams for so long that there's no point in wasting my time right now.
Yeah, I think in a similar vein, that is very much the reason why I am swiping right in this situation. So what am I doing? Let's act like it's not our first time on here. No, I'm messing with the new scenes on StreamYard. It works seamlessly because I set them up when we were both here last week. I was the only one in the room whenever I set them up last time. So I can already see that for the next one, it's going to kick you off again, but it's fine. The people will never have to know. But that's the thing for me. So if you're looking at that ADP, 115, he's looking to be like a 9th, 10th round pick. At that point, I don't care about bench spots anymore. I want players that can win me the league later. I'm not going to draft, say, Cooper Kupp. I'm not going to waste my time with stuff like that because Cooper Kupp is not going to win me this league. I already did that in a judge's wig and talked about why I don't want to do that. So for me, I don't have a lot of confidence in Jerome Ford. If you look at what's happening with Jalen Wright in Miami right now, I have a lot of concerns about Tennessee running backs. So it's like, is Dylan Sampson really what people think he is? Or was he just in a scheme where if you're fast, you're able to excel? So it's I think that he has the pedigree. He was practically a first-round pick. It was very early in the second round. So he's going to get the opportunity at some point. I'd rather have him wasting away on my bench than miss out on that opportunity. So at that point, it's worth the risk for me. I'll have the rest of my team situated. So we just kind of let it roll and go.
Yeah, so there was one more point I wanted to make, and when you started talking, it made me remember, because for those that don't know, I forgot to get my notes listed ready, so I'm going.
You gotta tell people that, man. They don't know.
So when he finally starts playing, all right, my idea of what the Browns are going to be is going to be
Super Bowl.
Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, floating around these rookies, and their end of season schedule. Okay, They got Niners, good defense. Titans, very good against the run. Just
Great
Jeffrey
against the
Simmons
run.
is a beast against the run up front. The Jets have a good front. They got the Ravens, good front. Steelers,
We'll see.
somewhat struggle with the run, but shouldn't. But
They should be better
sometimes
this year.
they, for whatever reason, decide that they don't want to stop the run. But 5 of his last 8 games are tough. And I think that they're going to be a negative game script a lot because I don't think that their quarterbacks are going to be doing anything. So I just don't think that – I don't think he's a league winner because of the team that he plays for. They're going to be going for a top pick. So it's like I want Judkins to be good because of the volume. But, like, when he finally gets back into game shape, finally is trusted to even get enough carries, the team's going to suck, right? So, like, I just feel bad about him this year. I'm hoping that, like, he comes back in his second season and is the guy that I drafted in a lot of rookie drafts in Dynasty because of his talent. I just don't see it this year. I think that everything's just working against him for his rookie year, and it just sucks.
Yeah. Good points. So that's going to wrap us up for Fantasy Football Tinder. Let's transition to our mock draft for the day. So let me transition this to make sure it doesn't kick you off the screen. So sure did. Both gone. All right, we're never doing this again until we're together. That's the rule. But we are going to be drafting from the 9-hole today. So, Drew, I know we've been talking about it. We did a draft from the 2 slot. We did a draft from like 5 or 6. I don't remember which one last week. The back of the draft for me, if I can choose, I want to be in this 8 to 10 range. I think 100%. That this is the place to be, and here's why. I'm going to let the draft start so we can kind of get rolling with this. But the big thing for me this year is I feel like there's probably 15 or 16 guys that I feel like are worthy of a first-round pick if you were to say to me, hey, you can get 2 of those, where somebody else is going to go and say, hey, I'm going to get Jamar Chase, but then on the way back, I'm getting, say, Bucky Irving, Lad McConkey, or I can pick in the back half, get CMC and Nico Collins, or I can get
all 4 of the guys
I
would target are here.
Right, exactly. It's fantastic. And why is there a timer on this? I have a show to run, so we're not going to do this today.
Like at the end of this draft, and I wish I was picking at the end of majority of my drafts. I'm going CMC. I'm trying to get Puka or Malik Neighbors on the back half. If things go horribly, I'm taking Ashton Genty, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah,
but
so right,
that's exactly what I would want.
Yeah, so if I could start McCaffrey Neighbors, like, I'm gonna have some messed up socks in my drawer. Like, that's all I gotta say. Like, it's gonna be.
You'll have to set aside a new drawer just to keep them the other socks.
So, as we move into kind of like the round 3, 4, I think the first 24 picks are pretty uneventful, unexciting. I am curious where you want to see, like, what you would want to do in this situation. To me, Chase Brown feels like a smash pick right here.
I would smash
There's
Chase
not
Brown
much to think about. I don't think he will be there in a real person draft, but we'll see what happens. I think that, to me, I want to hit running backs early and often. Now we're coming back here. So we got JSN, James Cook, Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison. Then you got some of the elite QB. So Hurts, Burrow. You got George Kittle, Alvin Kamara, Omari and Hampton. Is there anybody that you feel any particular way about?
It's funny drafting on Sleeper here because the drafts are wildly different than what you see on the ESPN.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's crazy. My guy I've been targeting in the 4th round when I draft on ESPN has been Omari and Hampton. Marvin Harrison's been a guy that's going later, like 5th.
Yeah. And I think for me, too, to that point, like we said that Chase Brown wasn't here, I'm probably taking Alvin Kamara at this 3-9. If it's
Does it change it if he does get moved?
Maybe a little bit. I do like the fact that Kellen Moore plays such a high-paced offense, but if someone's going to come in and take Kamara, which I don't think he gets traded, his floor is RB16.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah, I mean, I'm good with Kamara here. I would go with Hampton if it was me, but I'm good with Kamara too. I have plenty of Kamara shares as well. And what I like the most about this draft, the way it played out, I'm hoping that it continues on. And a lot of mocks I'm doing, he just went. But Devontae Adams is a smash pick for me if I don't end up with Puka in round 2. So in this scenario with Neighbors, I would have liked Adams, but Amari Hampton made it again. But like we should probably pivot off of running backs here. I would say it's up to you, but
no, I think so. I think realistically, if I already had Chase Brown, I might not swing back and get Kamara on the other side. But I'm also of the belief that like you should take the BPA. Rashee Rice at this point for me is too early at the 5 spot. If I'm looking at this draft, it would have to make it to the 7-9. So if I'm drafting in the back half, Rashee Rice is probably a trade target for me, not somebody.
Rashee Rice isn't going to where you're saying.
No, I know, but I'm saying like 5'9" and 6'2" is just a smidge early for me.
He's at like 6'5".
Right, but I think that I think this is just a bit early for me. If I'm in the front half of the drafts here, then yeah, absolutely, I'll take the chance. But to have him be my wide receiver 2, I don't really feel great about that. However, if he's going to be out for 6-8 games, Worthy feels like a smash here for me. I also really like Cortland Sutton as well. And I know that you said you like George Pickens. I'm going to take the bet that Pickens will be there at the 6-2.
Sure.
So who do you like between Sutton and Worthy?
I mean, as long as health goes well with, CMC, I think that we have a pretty solid floor. I think I would go for the smash here, and I would take Worthy. And then I would take George on the return.
Yeah. And you would take George over someone like T-Mac.
I would take him over Ted McMillan for sure.
Yeah.
I just like that offense.
And this is why I'm really enjoying like these back half of these drafts, because I can take it's basically hero wide receiver, and then you can start hammering in these middle rounds. Like these receivers are nasty. Like Pickens is going to be solid. Worthy could be solid. You look at like Sutton here. If you can get DJ Moore, people are saying like I got into it with somebody yesterday. Ray from Yahoo. What's his last name? Whatever. And he was like, oh, like they don't have a role for him on the offense. They don't know what to do. And it's like, no.
George?
No. For DJ Moore.
Oh.
And what that means is that they are putting him all over the field. They want to get him the ball, and they're trying to figure out where is the best place to do that because Caleb is still trying to figure stuff out.
Caleb's going to spread the ball around a ton, but like DJ Moore is going to be in the
DJ Moore's going to get design touches.
Yeah, like I don't understand that, but whatever.
Yeah, it's all good. So what we're looking at right now, so we got Pacheco, Jalen Waddle, Calvin Ridley, Chris Olave, Caleb Johnson, Judkins still a bit early for me. I think out of this group right here, I feel like Calvin Ridley is somebody that I'm really interested in from as like a 4th receiver. This is where it gets interesting to me. Like if you were to say, hey, like you can take Rashee Rice like in this area. If I have Neighbors, Pickens, Calvin Ridley, I still feel really good about that receiver.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit of a dead zone for me. Besides, I like Ridley and Olave.
Yeah.
But this is what I mean. Like, Rice's ADP is going too early, though. Like, if he was going here,
I'd be more
inclined to pick him. But he's not. He's not like Rice and Judkins. Judkins is his corrected a bit. Like, it's better. But like Rice is my first bench piece.
Rice won't get a correction until you get the definitive how many games, when it's going to happen.
Right, and
people are kind of just like you, because you have some people that are like me that are willing to take the risk, and I think you have an equal number of people that are not. And I think that the people that take the survey are a lot more risk forward because I follow a lot of fantasy people. So they're like, yeah, whatever. Like I trust myself enough, but like the average player, I think that they're going to be like moved off of them.
Yeah, because I think that you can get them suspended. I think the other team they'll get impatient or they'll get desperate if they start losing games. And I think that's when you just swoop in. But for me, in this spot, I mean, this is where I target Diggs because I want Diggs.
Yeah.
I don't think he returns back to us.
Let's do
Actually,
I like Diggs a lot too.
But Diggs,
yeah.
I think I would take Diggs over Adunze.
I would for sure, yeah. I think for me, I would probably have taken Pacheco there just because I think that he does have a nice little bounce back. You're getting into kind of the dead zone of running backs. But I mean, you have
Pacheco's the guy I pick if we don't have Worthy, though. I
Sure.
don't like the double dip.
Yeah. No, that's valid for sure. All right, so now we've got some interesting options here. Tyler Warren with this news of Daniel Jones is becoming increasingly appealing to me. I know that you have Njoku there. I know that you have Joe Flacco getting the nod, which shocked Drew. Can you believe that Joe Flacco, who they were holding out of preseason games, is the starting quarterback for the Browns?
I would have bet my mortgage.
So I think at this spot, like I really like Tyler Warren here. And then I probably would take Fields just because I still have a lot of faith in him. Somebody that I would have been really interested here is Jaylen Warren. I tweeted about this. It was either this morning or yesterday. I think that Jaylen Warren is being slept on as the running back like one for the Steelers this year. I get that Caleb has the potential. I see Caleb as a 2026 guy, but they signed Kenneth Gainwell to be what Jaylen Warren is the only other capable person to be, and that's I can protect the quarterback on third downs and get dump offs. Caleb Johnson is not a pass blocker. He still has some like rawness to like his pass catching ability and kind of what he does after he gets the rock. Very much like an early down player. Now, if I think about what Jaylen Warren can do this year, I think that they're going to lean on him more. You see Mike Tomlin kind of ease rookies into action when they can. They have a lot of faith in Warren. They brought him back on kind of like the restricted tender. So I think that he's going to get the first crack at it. And I think that we'll see Caleb Johnson become fantasy viable, but it's shocking to me that Warren is getting drafted after him. I think people are just chubbed up because he's a rookie.
They're getting picked at the same spot, though. Like their ADP is like 0.1 of each other.
Yeah.
Jaylen Warren is going to be the guy early, but I think that Caleb Johnson could have the David Johnson type take you over the top end of season, especially because Jaylen Warren hasn't shown an ability to stay healthy.
Yeah. Caleb Johnson's situation reminds me of when Nick Chubb got drafted, right?
Yes.
Where he was behind, I think it was Carlos Hyde.
Yes, and then Carlos Hyde got cut, and then Nick Chubb just completely blew up.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean to say that Jaylen Warren gets cut by any means, but I think that Jaylen Warren is going to be the guy to start the year. And Caleb Johnson will get touches. I think people get frustrated with like, oh, like he's a waste, and then he's going to get cut. And then he's going to have like an 80-yard run one week. And then it's like, all right, we're going to have to give him the ball a bit more.
And that's what Judkins is to me. That's why I swiped left, because I think that's what happens.
No, that's fair. All right, so let's make a pick here. And then we got a question in the chat from Dave Money that we'll get to. I think for me, with where we're at on our team right now, I'm probably going QB. Kyler, despite all the struggles that he had, was a QB1 last year. I think he does step his game up. I like that a lot. You obviously know how I feel about Justin Fields. I have him ranked right now as my QB6.
I would wait on the quarterback, one more round.
What's that?
I would wait on the quarterback one more round.
Yeah, okay.
I think that a lot of those guys will be there.
No, you're probably right. So where are you leaning? Are you going to go ETN just to kind of get the last starting running back?
My guy here has always been I see Igbuka. I don't think Ibuka's going to be here in a real draft. For me,
no, I don't either. I think he's in this Ridley Diggs range, and honestly, I would probably take him just because I have a lot more faith in what the Tampa Bay offense is going to be this year relative to Tennessee.
Yeah, and we went CMC early, and had I not gone CMC, Pearsall's been my target here. I also like Matthew Golden. I do think that he's going to have wide receiver one upside in that offense.
Yeah,
especially with all the injuries there.
Do you want to keep going wide receivers even though we already have 5?
Yeah, I mean, that's what the board's like right here. I have no faith in ETN at all. Like I'm just completely fading that backfield. I don't even know what other running backs are there. We probably should.
That's pretty much it. You could take like Jordan Mason, J.K. Dobbins,
Zach Charbonnet.
Zach Charbonnet. I mean, Charbonnet, yeah, done. Let's do that. And I think that this is even late for Charbonnet. I saw him go in the 7th round yesterday.
I really buy into that report from earlier about him. I really do.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get to Dave's question real quick. So Dave said, what are your thoughts on the Commanders' backfield? So we talked about it earlier in the show, but Drew, give me one running back who you think is going to lead the charge or who is going to be the leader in fantasy points for the Commanders' backfield in 2025.
I mean, I do think that it's going to be Bill. But I just don't think it's going to be the way that most of the fantasy community is hyping him up. I think it's going to be a committee. I just think that he offers the most out of that backfield. I know what you're going to say, which is going to be different. I just don't think at his age that Eckler has that yet. I think that Krosky Merrick is going to be the guy with the most fantasy points in that backfield, but I think that Eckler is going to work in. I think Chris Rodriguez is going to work in too. The Brian Robinson thing is just crazy, the way that this has come about. But I do think that he's going to get moved, considering that they don't even have him in the building. They're letting him stay home. They're not finding him either. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're just like, hey, we know that this is inevitable. You know, get home, keep your mentals right, work out kind of thing, but you're not going to be a commander. So I think it's going to be a three-headed committee, and I think that Krosky Merrick is going to lead it. But I do think that there's going to be some touches for Chris Rodriguez, and there's going to be some touches for Eckler. And I think that whichever guy stays healthy the longest is probably going to be the guy that scores the most. But, like, I think it's going to be a three-headed committee.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Eckler. So for me, he's getting drafted as ADP's 153. I will probably be taking a swing at that. Eckler, I mean, you look 2 years ago, he was a first-round pick in fantasy football. It doesn't mean anything in real-life football, but I think there is some belief that, like, he could be the guy to some degree. I don't have a lot of belief in Bill Krosky Merritt. I think he'll be fine, but he is a seventh-round guy. I think that he is fine, but I don't think he's going to be the starter. I think he could get some spell touches. I would rather take a swing at Chris Rodriguez because he already has that confidence. They already had him as the starter. Like, if they didn't have confidence in Chris Rodriguez, they could have very easily made JCM the starter of that preseason game. But who did they hold out? Austin Eckler. And I don't think it's going to be sexy, but I think the PPR appeal of Eckler is going to do a lot of good. What'll be interesting to see is that if you recall last year, Eckler was also returning kickoffs. I wonder if that continues this year. And if it doesn't, if that doesn't, then I think that it's to the moon for Eckler.
You're forgetting that last year he had 2 significant concussions. And, like, the worry with Olave is about him taking a big hit, but Eckler's going to be in the hole taking hits. Like, I don't think that they view him in that way because I think that he's susceptible of head injuries. I don't think that he's going to get that type of volume because of that. But, like, he missed like six games last year with a concussion, did he not?
I'd have to look. You're the doctor, man.
I have to pull up the sheet.
Yeah, so that's kind of where we sit on it. I think Robinson's definitely gonna be out the door though. So appreciate you stopping by and asking that question. So
he missed 4.5. He missed 4 games, but he left in 2. So he had 2 concussions, missed 4 total outside of leaving early. So I mean, he missed significant time with 2 concussions, and they're close together. So it's like, I don't know. How old is he at this point?
Austin.
He's got to be in his 30s, right? His 30s on the dot.
Yeah,
so
30 on the dot. So, I mean, I don't think he's going to return running back 1 value. I think he could be a flex guy, but I think that he has the most fantasy viable workload.
I don't think you can start any of them. I just think that, like, I'm throwing my hand in the ring because they're where they're going.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to hope that a couple of them have some big weeks and maybe I can move them.
So speaking of throwing our hand in the ring, we're at round 12. Are you willing to take the leap of faith on Javonte Williams in round 12?
I think this is where I take Dak Prescott, but you took Fields.
I did. Other players I'd be considering, Michael Pittman. I also really like Keon Coleman late. I think he is a great dart throw. We know that I'm a Keon Coleman hater, but there's nothing better than being a fantasy analyst because I just wasn't wrong. I just got new information. So if he does break out, if all the camp reports are true, if he's going to be the red zone guy, if he's going to be the deep ball guy, if they don't have an established wide receiver 1 for the Bills and Josh Allen, if I can take a chance at that in the 12th round, sign me up all day.
I think I would still take Dak. On the off chance Fields doesn't work out, I think I'd rather just have both.
Coleman could still be there on the flip back, but we'll see. Nope. I'm very much not a take 2 QBs kind of guy unless I'm in like a 14 or a 16 or something like that. So
yeah, but Fields does hold significant risk, and I would probably take if I have him, I'm going to have 2.
All right, and then let's just pick some defenses and kickers. Anybody you're feeling in particular for week 1? Who are the Saints playing week 1? That's what I want to know. Saints and Cardinals? Yeah, Cardinals defense, come on down. And then on the kicker front, we'll take our boy Buzz for the vibes. And so there we go. There we have a draft. So, yeah, I mean, just looking at our drafts relative to what we've done in other weeks, McCaffrey, Neighbors, Brown, Kamara, Worthy, Pickens, like to me, that is substantially better than what we're getting. So if we look at like the early picks, Barkley, London, Jackson, Kittle, Metcalf, Mixon, no. Having RJ Harvey as your RB2, hate that. AJ Brown, Jonathan Taylor, Ken Walker, Zay Flowers, ooh. Like there's just not a lot of good stuff that's happening here. I'm really enjoying what we're getting from the back of the room. So,
and just to add another piece, I feel like my drafts have looked better when I've committed to punting on quarterback and punting on tight end.
I agree.
I love the quarterback play.
If I can get like Trey McBride at this like back of the third, I would probably pull the trigger though. Like that value would just have to fall. Kittle would have to be like on the 5th round. But then after those 3, like I'm punting.
I like the idea of Tyler Warren, Travis Kelce, and low key, I like the idea of Mark Andrews as well. I think that he's going to have a bounce back year. And where he's going in drafts, I like that too.
Cool. All right, let me transition this. So we'll probably get disappeared for a moment.
No worries.
Oh, we did it. Look at me. I'm growing up. All right, so we're going to transition to our last segment of the day. We're at the hour, so we'll try to keep this short so we can get on with our evenings. But this is our only fantasy selection for the week. So we've done some different things. Typically, this is kind of like our guy for the week. But since we're still in preseason mode, the question for us today, Drew, we were talking about at the end of these drafts. So who is going to be your guy? Who are some that you're targeting, say, like, in the 15th round, the last guy in the draft, assuming that you already have your kicker and defense already picked, or maybe you don't have to worry about drafting a kicker and defense, you can load up on extra position players. Who do you find yourself taking a lot with that last pick?
Yeah, so my guy is honestly a true lottery pick. But the way I view him, which is probably different than everyone else, I've been picking him in round 15. He's probably going undrafted in most leagues, but my guy's Braylon Allen. And some reports, obviously, today, actually, we're talking about Braylon Allen, his role, Breece Hall's role, Isaiah Davis's role. Aaron Glenn's arguing with reporters about how it's a passing league now. Like, he's committed to the run. Obviously, with Justin Fields, that makes sense. But Braylon Allen, to me, I'm probably alone on this, but I feel like there's a chance, there's a possibility. It's in the realm of possibilities that Braylon Allen could have a significant role, kind of like what David Montgomery was with the Lions. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, over the past 2 years, David Montgomery's averaged nearly 15 touches a game. I think that there's a world where Braylon Allen is David Montgomery in this offense. They want to run the ball a ton. I think that Braylon Allen is going to get the goal line work, which obviously he's going to fight some with Justin Fields. But, like, he had 16 short yardage opportunities last year, converted on 14 out of the 16. Yeah. Breece Hall converted on 34% of short yardage opportunities. It's just not what he does. He's going to be great in the passing game, but he's running uninspired. The way he's talking about the organization, knowing that it's probably his last year there, he doesn't sound like he's in it. It's weird for a guy coming into the season to be acting the way that he is. And I just think that Braylon Allen's been playing so well. They want to run the ball so much. Aaron Glenn coming from Detroit. I know he's a defensive-minded guy, but he's obviously paying attention about what they did on the offense. He saw what works. It's going to take a lot of pressure off Justin Fields. I think that there's a realm of possibility where you're getting a guy like David Montgomery for free, and he could be a flex option week in and week out. He probably has to score a touchdown to pay off, but I think that there's a good chance that he has an opportunity to score a touchdown each week. So why not take this guy for free? That could potentially be a running back 3 bye week fill-in, potentially a flex option, especially if Breece Hall goes down,
Yeah.
dude's probably a top 10, 15 play.
Yeah.
If he has the backfield to himself and he's going for free. And I'd rather get in on it now before it's too late.
No, yeah, for sure. Because if Breece Hall does get moved, that would be pretty much a Braylon Allen backfield. And he did look good last year as well. So
they're not talking about him as an elite handcuff either, which I think he's
I think the reason that it's not is because it's not an elite offense.
Fair. I would love him to just have the role himself, though. I just think that the possibilities.
So for me, the person that I've been looking at a lot is Ollie Gordon from the Dolphins. So if we just look at the numbers in the preseason, so from the small sample size, but this is from Jared Small over at Draft Sharks. He tweeted this out yesterday. So yards per carry for Ollie Gordon, 4.6. Jalen Wright at a 1.5 in the preseason. Now, it is preseason, but if you want to be the guy and you're playing against bums, you need to not be a bum. 1.5 yards per carry is bum stuff.
Yeah.
Yards per contact after attempt. Ollie Gordon, 4.06. Jalen Wright, 1.54. Missed tackles forced per attempt. Gordon at 0.22. Wright at 0.08. Achan's already banged up. He has the calf thing. For as much basketball as I watch, calf injuries really scare me just because of the potential for like Achilles stuff. Like you really have to take your time healing on those. If you look at Ollie Gordon, he had a big fall from grace. He was the running back one going into that final season of his, and then kind of like collapsed that.
He was a dumpster fire.
Yeah, absolute trash. And we don't know if it was an Oklahoma State thing. We don't know if it was an injury thing, like what's up, but it wasn't what we all expected him to be. But he had a 24% avoided tackle rate, which was above average in college football. Breakaway run of 8.22%. So he has the ability to get big plays, and he's able to make defenders miss. He was fourth in his class in receptions. So he has a pass-catching threat, which is going to be important for Tua who wants to get the ball out early. And last but not least, he's only 21 years old. If you think about that dominant 2023 season that he had, 1,700 yards, 22 touchdowns at 19. So I think that there's a lot of belief there. I'm pretty much out on Jalen Wright. I know that people have been trying to push it to be a thing, but I don't see it. But at the end of the day, with the Achan injury popping up, him playing well, and also there's been talk about Achan not being the goal line back or the short yardage back. Ollie Gordon can excel at that. So I feel like there's just a natural role there that's just opening up. So why not make that dart throw? And we'll close it out with this. Our boy Ricky Dunks in the chat saying what's up. Hope all is well. So shout out to my boy Ricky holding it down as always.
Right on, brother.
And he's thinking maybe the Dolphins can target B-Rob. I don't see it necessarily, but
that's not bad actually.
Not a bad fit.
He would be a good compliment for Achan for sure.
Yeah. So we'll see. I just feel like the Dolphins are tanking in a way. So it's like, why would they give up assets when it feels like they're like a couple games from like firing their coach and being a dumpster fire?
I don't think they want to though.
They don't want to.
Yeah. Like the vibes are just like so shitty.
I just feel like there's like a Tyreek crash out, like 13 more kids. Like Tua's gonna just like give up on football. Like it's just gonna be like a weird year for them. But all right, Drew. So we're at the end of the show here. Let's just jump and put the socials on screen. So if you're liking what you're seeing, we are on YouTube every week at 8:30 Eastern time. We're also live streaming on X or Twitter, as the youths will say. Or I guess that's the old folks. The youths probably say X. But you can find us at the handles below. So AT412FF show on X, at around the 412 on Twitch and on YouTube. We only got one more week of preseason nonsense that we got to get through, and then we can start talking real hard American ball. And I'm very excited about that. Drew, any closing thoughts before we end the show this evening?
No, man. I just for anyone that hasn't seen it yet, check out Rome Odunze's afro. Shit's sick.
Yeah, I think that boosts up his ADP by at least 15 spots for me. I think.
Yeah, I might pick him in round 1 now.
101 still too late in the draft, but all right, y'all. So that's gonna wrap things up right now for us for the Around the 412 football show, or I guess fantasy football show, whatever you want to call it. I'm Joe Frick. That's Dr. Drew Hannes. Until next time, my friends, and we're looking forward to this last week of the preseason. So peace.